Oh, it's still raining. It's actively raining right now.
It is.
Ooh, girl.
And after this, I still got to run some errands. Yeah, that's why I tell
Oh
you about the
goodness.
time. Yeah, yeah. It's
Ooh.
been such a crazy day. It's been so busy.
Yeah, girl. I can only imagine because it did it ice where you are as well in Houston.
No, not in the area I live. No, not no. Mm-mm.
That's why because they got ice in the Killeen area, and then they got ice bad in Dallas, but it's no anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah, like
Hmm.
as far as is when I was living in Texas, that's what they would notice that there's more snow out that way,
Okay.
or ice, or that colder kind of weather. And I don't
Okay.
know if it's more north. I know for sure it's more east. So
Hmm.
that's really interesting. Let's
Yeah.
see. Hey, Janai, welcome, welcome.
That's a pretty name.
Yeah, that's my younger sister.
Yeah, I love that
It
name.
means to give thanks in Swahili.
Oh, it's pretty. I like that.
Oh, just giving a couple minutes or a couple, just a little bit, so that other people can
Yes.
come in and join us, and making sure that we're all good on Facebook. Hey, okay, cool, 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 cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
awesome. Oh, and Janai says thank you.
Oh, I see a little bubble. Okay, I'm learning. This is all new to me. I'm learning all this stuff.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to tell you thank you. I had such a good time recording with you.
Oh,
That was like a
likewise.
day where I recorded with multiple other people for this show and for other shows, and it was by far one of my favorite conversations to have that day. And I was
Oh,
like super excited and like editing the episode and getting ready
I
to put it
loved
out.
it.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
so
a really
good.
great. Yes.
Yes, I
I
enjoyed
truly,
it.
truly, truly enjoyed it. Um, can you tell the people a little bit about what your podcast is, who you are, and just give us a little bit of a Noemi.
All right, a little bit. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, so your girl is born and raised in Brooklyn, but currently residing in Texas, Houston, Texas at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Coffee with Curls podcast that started really about conversations that I was having with people, just in general, my friends, strangers. I felt like it was topics that they were kind of taboo that no one really digged into, and I just wanted to talk about it. So the mic became my friend. I named her. And so we just had a relationship that I share with the world about things, about everyday things, thoughts, randomness. And so it just became this conversational thing of just sharing. And it shifted for me, right? Because as I go, I'm in therapy, as we spoke about,
Right, right,
and what I learn, I share that on my podcast, and it resonates with people. So that kind of like, um, you're not out there by yourself as you think you are. So that's how
right.
the podcast keeps evolving for me. And so I don't know, I'm multi-layered. Your
Yes, you are.
girl, I'm very multi-layered. I am a movie head, a Walking Dead fan, as we spoke before, because that's
Hmm.
how we talked about survival.
Yes, I mean, I'm telling you, you gotta watch the show. You'll get ready real quick.
Yes. And I just, a student of life and just trying to grow and just be a better human being. That's who I am at the soul.
Oh, yeah. But thank you so much for being a guest on this show. It was, like I said, it was a really, really great conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hey,
Yes.
KK.
Hey.
That's one of my other co-hosts. She's like my main co-host, and then I just have rotating co-hosts where we get to talk to different people like you.
Hey.
So in this episode, we talked a lot about the importance of getting your mind right, going to therapy, working your
Mm,
mental muscle, working through a lot of those issues, and it was brought up about generational cycles
mm,
that we have, and
mm-hmm,
how we can take those things on to pass them on, or we can do the work to kind of like dig through it and kind of and make sure that part doesn't get passed on. So the first question of the night: do you hold yourself accountable for continuing generational cycles, good, bad, or indifferent? Like, do you hold yourself accountable, and what does that look like?
Oh, acknowledging it, acknowledging when you do it. And sometimes it takes awareness. Sometimes you don't know you're doing it. I think
That's
that's
true.
something that sometimes you don't know you're doing something. And then sometimes for me, I'll have epiphanies. And I'm like, oh my God, I did exactly what my mom did that annoys me, you know? And I'm here judging her. And here I go doing the same thing. I'm like, oh, why? And it's
Right,
really
right.
understanding, that um, when it happens, it's okay, right? Because we're human beings and we make mistakes and we just have to be aware and acknowledge it. And you're like, you know what? That doesn't make me feel good as a person. And I want to grow from this. So, what do I need to do to not do this again?
This is good. I try. I think self-awareness is absolutely the key to make sure that we are, and that comes with a lot of maturity, I think, in
Mm-hmm.
understanding how to observe not just what other people are doing, but our roles in
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that we do. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's absolutely, I try to make sure that whatever, like, when I decide to get married or have kids, I want to be the best version of myself for those events, and
Mm-hmm.
through life, wanting to make sure that I present the best of myself. So I try to make sure, doing those mental check-ins, taking a step back to realize, okay, what's out there, what am I passing on, what do I have for my family, things like that, what do I want to show? Because it's not, you don't have, I mean, there's some things, definitely some events that may happen in life, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that we try to say, well, because, somebody, whoever my caretakers were mean to me, I don't want to act like them at all. But if you know how to take those same traits and treat them as strengths,
Mm-hmm.
it can absolutely help you to be a better person. Let's see. Janai says, absolutely. I feel, especially as a parent, you have the power and responsibility to break, create, or continue generational cycles.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Is it only, but to, my question is it only as a parent that you have awareness of the generational cycles? Do you
Mm.
get that awareness only when you become a parent and you see that you're doing stuff that your parents or your caregivers had done?
I don't have children, but I don't think that that's the only time you have awareness. I believe that when you start investing in really healing yourself and you see
Mm-hmm.
something behavior and you have someone who's helping you look at things in a different perspective, that you did similar, like however you've grown up. I but honestly, it's really about accountability and looking at the mirror, right? It's the
Yes.
reflection of the mirror, man in the
Yes.
mirror, like Michael Jackson said, right? I mean, the song always it reflects back to that, and it's just honestly holding yourself accountable and not falling into the victimhood
Yes. Oh, because these
of it
things have
all.
happened to me, I can never
Hmm.
be, I will never do, I don't really have,
Yes.
I think that is, because we don't do victim blaming here. But, if you absolutely have exhausted all resources, I can understand you feeling down on your luck, but there's always
Mm.
something. There's
Yes.
always someone. If you look hard, I'm
Hmm.
telling you, like, ways will absolutely be made. Kayla has agreed with self-awareness. Let's see. Janai says, not only as a parent, but with habits and bonds you have with siblings, cousins, etc. It can happen in any aspect of life. It
True.
is that is so true.
Yeah. True. Very true. Yeah, it's true.
I don't know if you've experienced this, but my siblings, my aunts, my cousins, or not really my cousins, but like absolutely my siblings, my aunts, and sometimes my grandmothers will absolutely point out if I'm acting like one of my parents. Like, oh, you're just
Yeah.
like your mom. Oh, you're just like your dad. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that is something that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Oh
that.
yeah.
No, it's fine.
Like, are you sure? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's okay. We learn behaviors. They're taught behaviors. We got it
I've
from
been seeing
somewhere.
this for over 30 years. Like, yeah, I'm
Exactly.
gonna pick up some of their habits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's okay. You know
Yeah.
what? It's fine. Yeah.
Let's see. So we also talked about in the episode, and if you all have more comments that you want to talk about for the previous question, feel free to do it to leave your comment, and I'll read them as I get to them. But in the episode, we also, I mean, aside from being prepared in case there was an event, like a catastrophic event where we had to be in the world of The Walking Dead and post-apocalyptic America. Um, we also talked about the importance of why it's important to be honest in therapy. Like seek the right
Yes.
therapist, but then also have a level of humility and vulnerability. So my question for yourself and the audience is, in this time, what are you doing for you to make sure that you are presenting the best you possible?
Oh, I could definitely answer that. If you're going to therapy and you're lying, right? So therapy, what's good about therapy is that your therapist is not allowed to repeat the things you say unless you're going to harm yourself
Right.
or you're harming
Or
others,
someone
right?
else. Yeah. Hmm.
Right. So out of those two things, you could say pretty much a lot of things.
Right.
Also, you got to look at, you could be lying to the therapist, but you're really lying to yourself. So how are you going to heal if you continue to lie to yourself? And you're only going to get the help that you need based on what the information is being given,
True. And if they don't
right?
have the correct information, you're not going to get the right treatment.
Absolutely. So how do you get diagnosed or help or anything like that? If you're not giving the full information, then that means that you're not really willing to deal with it and you're putting it under the rug. So once again, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and like, why am I lying about this? It's not like the
True.
therapist is going to tell your mother, you know what I mean? Or put
What
it
if
on
they find out?
Instagram,
Oh my gosh. What
you
if they
know?
find out people will know my inner thoughts? Yeah.
Yes, and that's why it's important to get a therapist that specifies in the things that you're into, to have that relate. We're talking about finding a therapist is like finding a mechanic or a nail shop or all those good things, a GYN for women, like
Yes.
all that greatness. So understanding that that's also a relationship to cultivate, and if you're already lying into that, you're not going to get the true healing that you're needing.
True. So what in this time where we
Mhm.
are in 2021,
Mhm.
what are you doing for you to make sure that you are being your best self?
So I talked about this in one of my last episode when I talked about doing the shadow
The
work,
shadow work, yeah.
right? The shadow work, and it's really digging deep into the roots of things that I've been doing that's been holding me back, right? So that's what I'm doing for myself to kind of put it on the table. Why am I doing this? Why? What is the root of this, and why do I continue this behavior? There's some kind of comfort in it, even if it's not good,
Right.
that I need to dig into. So facing those things for me is what I'm doing for me in order to be a better and heal.
So do you feel like doing this work, so you're doing that now, what probably
Mhm.
prevented you from doing it before?
I wasn't ready.
You just wasn't, yeah.
I wasn't ready. You don't do things until you're ready. I wasn't willing to face it, whether it was fear, judging myself. I'm very hard on myself at times. And so all those things really was blocking me for the healing blessing that I need.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Janae says reflection is so important. It's important to be honest with yourself, but it's also important to have a trusted source that can highlight your blind spots. Because those blind spots come out of I mean, when you see it, it's big as day. But when
Yes.
you miss it, you feel like a million miles removed from whatever it is. And so
Yeah,
that's good. Making sure that you
that's
have
good.
someone. Janae also says facts, doing things when you're ready. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Kayla says, I can't wait to tell my therapist what's going on, LOL, because it's easier to talk it out to someone who isn't going to be biased. That, you know
True.
what, Kayla, that's absolutely true. And this is the wild thing I think that people don't think about. When a lot of times people want to vent or talk about some of the things they go through, a lot of times they're not looking for you to solve their problems. They just want you to be a
Mm.
sounding board. Just like, let me vent to you. I don't want you to solve anything. I just want to be heard. Maybe
Hmm.
I just want to hear what these words sound like out loud because they've been echoing in my mind for too long.
It's
So
true. It's
yeah.
true. And I want to add to that. Something that we do, and I've made the same mistake, is share some things with friends and family that aren't qualified to give you sound advice. And because they're close to you, they're not really going to give you the truth.
Yeah.
And, and something that I started to learn, like if I want to share something, is ask somebody if they have the space for me to share that. Because
Yeah.
energy can be heavy and it's
It
not
can.
fair for you to be an emotional dumper.
That, you know what? That's what I do, and that's really good to be able, because a lot of people, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying everybody does it, but there's a lot of people who use their friends as therapists, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
really fair because that's not what a friend is, right?
Mm-hmm.
A friend is your person that you hang out with, and it's not that they only have to hear the good, but they're not there to help you work through every single thing. Like if you got some emotional stuff that you got to deal with or some mental blocks that you got to deal with, you need somebody to talk to, like a therapist or a counselor, etc. It's
Mm-hmm.
their job, that's their passion to do those things. But in my space, what I try to create is, if you come to me, Noemi, and you say, "Hey, Lee, I want to talk to you," my probably second reaction is to ask, do you want to just vent? Are you expecting advice, or do you want me to take action? Because then
That's
now
good.
I can listen with a purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want me to help you solve the problem, I know there are certain things I need to listen out for. If you
Mm-hmm.
want me to just listen to you vent, okay, I can listen to this passively because you just want to be validated and get whatever it is off your chest. If you want me
That's
to take
good.
action, the onus will be on you to come up with what action you feel that I should take, and I can let you know if that's within my boundary or not. And
Mm.
I think that people using those kind of steps to say, okay, well, you know, I do want to hear you, but I need to know why are we talking about this? And it's good
Mm-hmm.
now. I especially use it now when I talk to my friends and family about whatever's going on, and I let them know I'm not looking for an answer or a solution. I just want to talk this out a little bit, or maybe I
Mm.
want to hear what your thoughts are, or I really feel like I want you to take action on this. And I feel that this would be a good action item to take,
That's
So I
good. Yeah.
having that on the other side as the receiver of the information is a good thing, because you could come and say, hey, do you have space for me to put all this energy out there? And I just need to know which receptacle to put it in.
Mm-hmm. That's
Uh,
good.
Janai says, good advice. I think she was talking about what your point was because it came in while I was talking. Um,
Thank you.
so one thing, because I was like, have I answered this already? One thing that I'm doing for me, I have been away for like a couple months with family. And now that I'm back, I have notes, like my notebooks are all around me. And I have, like Janai was talking about with reflection, I'll go through my notes because I journal from time to time. And
Mm.
especially at the times where I'm feeling like at my low points, and I write about it. And I get to write back to myself. And like if I was feeling inadequate in whatever the situation is, oh, this is too big. I don't think I can do this. How can I move on? I'm not really sure. I don't really feel like I have the tools, the skills, the wherewithal, whatever, to be able to accomplish this thing. And now that I'm in a clearer headspace, and uh it seems a lot smaller because I've done even more than that. I can go back and write to myself that, no, girl, you got it. You did it. It was great. It was
Yes.
amazing. And
Yes.
being able to have that type of reflection, it has just been, it's been great. It's been very, very helpful because it helps me to understand that there's always going to be times where I'm either feel like I'm climbing up the mountain, standing on the mountain peak, or coming down to go up the other side. And in having that reflection, I get to be more present with myself.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, give yourself credit for that. It's important that we do those things, things that help us manage whatever feelings we're having. I do something similar that you do, but instead I do voice notes to myself.
I do voice notes too. Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
voice notes to myself. I record it, but then sometimes I also do voice notes for my future self.
Ah.
So I'll
Okay.
say some things because what happens for me, what I'm learning is to reprogram the thoughts, right? Because we have that little negative voice in the back of our heads and it's our
Right.
own voice. So I want to switch that. I want to just change that and have my own voice to say other things, good things.
See, and I did that once and I felt silly doing it, so I've never played it. I just went on ahead and deleted it. But it was just like, because I wanted to, record myself, like look at where you started and where you are now. And whether you are, just getting your stride, or whether you are, talking to the masses, whatever it is, like you're doing a lot better than you were before. And so
Hmm.
being able to do that in retrospect is great. But I feel like my goal is to move forward, to be able to be where you are, which is being able to tell myself, my future self, where it is that I've been, and how proud I am of myself to continue to do it, because I took this step this day. It's taken me a lot further.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you for doing this and sharing this. This is very, very vulnerable, to open up and talk about feelings. It is because we don't do that. We want to be hard. Listen, I'm from New York. We always hard, hard, hard,
Yeah,
hard, and it doesn't
absolutely.
do us any good. Just a be blocked. And why? I don't want to be blocked anymore.
Yeah, because it kind of. And so, okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting to the comments. We're gonna go through the comments real quick. I'm getting to the
Okay.
comments. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yes.
Hi, Christina. I haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you for coming. Hey, boss lady Denise.
Hi.
Let's see. Oh, really? TT's here. That's my older sister. Um, let's see. Janae says, when I read back some of the old things I've written, especially when I was in an uncertain certain phase in life, it makes me realize how much growth has actually happened. I compared the old mindset with the new, and I feel so proud of the progress.
As you should.
Yes,
Congrats.
yes.
Congratulations.
And I mean, and Janae is actually going into counseling, so that's like really cool that she's
That's
doing that.
beautiful.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
For me, being vulnerable is somewhat hard. Listen,
Mm,
it is.
it
Vulnerability
is.
is a different type of energy. A
It
lot of people
is.
would rather physically be naked in town square than to have to tell somebody how they truly feel. And
Yeah.
it's it's definitely a practice, especially after building up so many walls. You learn who you can be vulnerable with, who's that outlet for you, and where you have that space. But it's absolutely, especially in whether you're married or you have familial relationships, children, especially
Hmm.
children. If you're guarded, it's going to be hard to have relationships with anyone. And
Yeah.
it's and that's one reason why I try to work so hard to be more vulnerable, because being on the island by myself is not that fun.
And
Like it's cool.
vulnerability
There's no,
is
I don't have to wear pants, but it's boring by myself. I want to have people with
but
me.
but you know what vulnerability does? It brings you to your truer self.
Mm,
So it's okay. I know the vulnerability can hard, trust me, I know, because I used to say my favorite Marvel character is the Hulk, because that's me. I'm David Banner, go from 0 to 1,000. And it's like I could be, you could be so smart and it just goes crazy. But I learned that that type of energy doesn't really do me any well. And vulnerability just taught me that I can be more into myself.
mm,
And it just helps me. Like I said, the healing for me has been a blessing, and I'm still learning. Listen, doesn't
right.
say I don't go back to old behaviors. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I'm just getting tools that I need to be better. That's all.
Listen, it being vulnerable has actually led me to, and it's interesting that you say your truer self, is led me to understand more things about myself that I didn't realize that I put away even before I could realize that they were there. Um, my silk smash. What?
That's me.
Yes. um, I think, and this could be the next question, but in being vulnerable, what is one thing? And I'll put it in the chat thing. Um, being vulnerable, what is one thing that surprised you about yourself and being vulnerable to learn about yourself?
Oh, I gotta think about this. I was definitely that holding to some anger that I did not need to hold. There was a lot of suppressed anger, for sure.
Yeah.
Stuff that was embedded that I've never dealt with. And so once again, going back to digging into the stuff that I wasn't dealing with. And sometimes what we're using is other emotions to block hurt and pain.
It's wild because you don't realize that anger is actually like sadness,
It
or
is.
um eating when you're lonely, or
Mhm.
there's so many different layers, and we cover it up with so many different things. Like we just,
Mm,
for whatever reason, based on our personalities, we just have some really wild coping mechanisms. um
yes.
but getting to the root of that anger, of where it came from, that it's such a freeing thing. It really
Yeah.
is a freeing thing. And I don't know where you are in your journey, but like being on the other side of it and knowing I don't have to hold those grudges, I don't have to be in that place, I don't have to do those things. It
Hmm.
made me make like better decisions in my connections with other people, because I don't have, now I don't even try to make other people feel comfortable in my space. Yeah,
I
I
am
just,
definitely clear.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with
I'm not
you.
begging you to stay. I'm not building a trauma bond with you. You can move on. This doesn't,
Oh, I talked about that. I talked about the trauma bonds on the whole shadow work episode. I talked about the trauma bond. That
girl.
right there is serious. And if we get to learn just the trauma bonds alone, we'll start on breaking so many things. And that's so easy to connect because you don't even realize that you're trauma bonding.
No, and it's when I point it out to people, I'm like, "Who's your friend?" Oh, they're this. So, what do y'all do together? Oh, we do X, Y. Z.
Mhm.
How did y'all meet? Mm.
Mhm.
So that's just trauma on trauma on trauma. You want to let that go? Well, no,
Let
it's
it go.
comfortable. Oh, okay. Be comfortable. You're not
Mm.
ready. It's cool. Um, One of the things that I've learned about myself that actually surprised me is how, and it makes sense in retrospect,
Mm.
but I didn't really know it about myself, was um, I am actually, and this is weird to say, oh Lord, I'm really actually saying this out loud. Okay. I'm actually a sensitive person. I didn't realize how sensitive I was until I was trying to understand why I did not want to be vulnerable. It wasn't just a lack of security or a lack of confidence or any of that. I am more sensitive than I put on. Like I'm absolutely like, yeah, I can, yeah. I just try not to take things to heart so much. And so it looks like I can just let things roll off my shoulders and that, hard exterior, all that kind of stuff. But I'm more sensitive than what I thought I was. I'm not saying that I'm a highly sensitive person, but way more emotional than what I thought I would be. And so in being vulnerable and being in these spaces that make me kind of shed the coping mechanisms that I have to build these relationships, that's one thing that like really just surprised me. It was just like, oh wow, okay. So being vulnerable, learning to be vulnerable, I appreciate the lessons that I've had, like especially this last year, because I could just be honest. And I told one of my sister's daughters, love her so much. She cracks me up all the time. She's 6, and something about kids. She says, we're just standing in the grocery store. She says, I want a hug. Or we're standing in line somewhere. I want a hug. Not only is she aware in knowing what she wants, but she was able to just boldly say that and know that somebody's going to give her what she needs. And I'm just
it's so good. You know what's so crazy? If you think about when you was a child, and even something I even reflected on, right? When we were children, we didn't get the cloud of the adults. We were just beings.
Yeah.
We weren't taught anything. We weren't taught the hurt of the world. We were just beings, and we just came out as who we were. And then people started telling us what's wrong, what you shouldn't be doing. Because when you think as a child, you wanted to be all kinds of things. We had dreams.
Oh,
We're so
absolutely.
open, and no one taught. It wasn't like it was bad to share. But as we became older, those things were taught behavior. And this is another thing too that I reflect on. What are my own thoughts or were thoughts that were put in my head by other people? And that's another layer of stuff. Shadow work. This is what thoughts are my own, or these are thoughts that were implemented by cycles, by family, by friends. What are my thoughts? Who am I? And are these my thoughts, or these are thoughts that have been implemented? Reprogramming the mind.
Girl.
It's layered.
Girl.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Let's see. Who when you say who? What do you gotta elaborate? What are you referring to? Who? What? Oh, Tamara, love you too. So I feel like it's important that hold on. I am a sensitive person. I don't show it often, but I am sensitive. I am a sensitive individual. I don't show it often because these things happen.
Oh, they're talking about you. They say who? That's you. They're talking about you.
Listen, I need y'all to like not come at me like this. Like y'all need to understand that I am. This is my truth that I choose to live in. Okay. Let me be great.
This is a safe space. This is a safe space.
Let me be great. Listen. People don't get to see it often, but yeah, I am a sensitive person. Yes, Kayla, we've figured it out. Appreciate you. I think that it's just that because I don't show that at all, really. I don't show the sensitive side or I care. I do. It's just a lot of energy to care, and sometimes it's just easier and quicker to just do the short thing. But yeah, I need y'all to like not attack me so much. Okay? You don't have to come at me so hard. I'm not overly emotional. Like I'm dramatic,
Hmm.
but I'm not overly emotional. So yeah, I can leave my sensitivity alone.
Oh,
I'm
they messing around. They're messing around.
But yeah, I know you said that you couldn't stay long, but I do
Yeah.
appreciate you for coming. What would
Yeah.
you like to plug before we get out of here?
You guys can follow me at Coffee with Curls on IG, Twitter, Facebook. I'm mostly active on IG. My link tree is up, but you can find all the information on there where you can find my podcast. I also have Coffee with Curls merch. I'll be adding some new upcoming things that I'm excited about that I won't share until they're actually completed. And I'm excited
Hey,
about this. So many good things. I'm like, I'm trying to hold it in. But follow me through. I'll be posting some of that updates and all goodies. And I appreciate you for having me on.
absolutely. Make sure y'all check out the latest episode of Coffee with Curls, Shadow Work. It is such a good episode. I think that it is. Oh, Mike just figured out who you were.
Oh, hey, Mike. That's me.
um, and oh, thank you, Janai.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
appreciate you, TT. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
But yes, make sure that you follow Noemi. She like, girl, you are so dope. It's really
Thank
cool
you.
to like just hearing that not only you're going to therapy, but you're actually applying and wanting to share the tools and everything that you gain and being able to exchange in that conversation. Well, my therapist learned this and I learned this and da da da, and being able
Hmm.
to look at things from all different types of perspectives. So I absolutely appreciate you. I
I
appreciate your
appreciate
podcast.
you. I really do. I appreciate you. You're such a sweet soul. So you're
Oh,
dope.
thank you. I try to be. Thank you to
Yes.
everyone for coming. If you haven't already, make sure that you not only check out Coffee with Curls, but you check out Take a Space Pod. We
Yeah.
just released an episode about breaking generational cycles, about how to prepare, especially when you've seen The Walking Dead, like all
Hmm.
seasons, you know how to prepare.
That's more important right there. How to
Yes,
prepare.
in the times we live in. Make sure you have a go plan.
Yeah.
But it was such a good episode, and I truly appreciate just hanging out with you, talking with you, and getting to know you more on a
Anytime.
personal level. So hopefully you'll be able to come back. I want to thank everybody in
Yes.
the audience for coming. We have TT, Janai E, Kayla, Denise, Mike, Christina. Did I miss anybody? Those who liked, and oh, Drake was here. Anya,
He
hey
was.
Anya.
Hey.
Lexi was here, and I think that's everybody. If I miss you,
Okay.
it's because there were your comments were not popping up. And oh yeah, of course, Drake always like slides it. He's always just he's
Drake. Thanks for popping up.
right.
I see your little head on the side.
But thank y'all so much for the support. We'll be here next Thursday, 8 p.m. Oh, Rachel's here. Oh, that's my other sister. Yeah.
Hola.
Hey, thanks for coming. No, just rewatch it. It's fine. It's all good content. Just go
It's all good.
watch it, just go ahead and leave a comment when you're done. Yes. But
Yes.
make sure to follow us everywhere at Take a Space Pod. That's Take a Space POD. Before we get out, do a quick survey. Would y'all care if I did a website for Take a Space Podcast? Or like are y'all just like I
Yes.
gotta follow it on the socials? Because I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out if I should do a website for it or not. I'm not really sure if I want to, because that's just work
Oh,
to
it
put it up
is.
and then put in the other things, and it costs money.
No, you could do a free one. There's free do the search
there are
engines. They're
free,
free
no,
ones. Yeah.
there are free ones, but the ones that I paid for look nicer,
Oh, they
and I have
do. I know.
less work. I can just pick a template and do the thing.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yes.
true.
Would y'all
Yeah.
care? Do y'all care? I mean, y'all are here because y'all follow social media, so I don't know if it's that important, but y'all let me know. Make sure that you tune in to our latest episode. Follow us everywhere podcasts can be found, and make sure you share it with a friend. Appreciate you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much to our guest Noemi from Coffee with Curls. Make sure to
Thank
check her out.
you.
Have a great one. Enjoy y'all the rest of y'all night, and have a good weekend.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.